Hey guys, I go to the gun range 2 to 3 times a month, so in a year's time, my guns get a lot of rounds put through them. And in order to have properly functioning and safe firearms, you have to do maintenance on them. And that could just simply mean cleaning and lubricating, or it could be replacing parts when they wear out. But cleaning and lubricating is one of the best ways to keep your gun working properly for a long time. And I honestly clean my guns after every single range trip. Even if I only put 20 rounds through a gun, I still will come home and clean them. It's kind of therapeutic for me. I like taking things apart and cleaning it and then seeing it when it's finished. But you can see this barrel here. I think I only put around 20 rounds through this gun the last time I was at the range. But this thing is absolutely filthy. So I'm going to get this cleaned up today. So my cleaning supplies are a little bit embarrassing, kind of. So I keep some stuff in a Ziploc bag here. And basically I have like this towel as like my mat that I lay down, and then I put my guns on top of that typically. And then I have this other towel here that I wipe the slides off and stuff like that when I'm done cleaning. I always have like an assortment of patches, and then Q-tips are down in here. I always have some like junk toothbrushes that I keep in there. I usually have some type of rod and brush depending on what I'm doing. I have a set of these cleaning picks. These are real good to get down like in the slide rails, stuff like that. Usually bore snakes. I have some kind of junk jags and slotted tips, but I don't hardly ever use these for anything. And then obviously you need some kind of solvents, or cleaners, lubricants. So it really is a hodgepodge of stuff. And then I have to grab, this bag and then grab this and then grab these. So the folks at GloryFire reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to take a look at their gun cleaning kit. And I thought it might be nice to kind of basically have all of the items that I need for cleaning basically in one kit. So I figured I'd show you all of the pieces that come with this, and then kind of give you my opinion on kind of like the quality of the items and stuff. It's not going to be a full-on review because there's no way I'm going to use everything that's in here. But let's get into it and we'll see what all is included. So it does come in this really sturdy case. We'll get into this here in a second. Let me pop through here. As you can see, this is for basically all firearms. It's rifles, pistols, revolvers, shotguns, muzzle loaders, pretty much everything. And yeah, this case is actually really nice. Let's check out these locks or clasps on it. Yeah, those are actually pretty sturdy too. A lot of these cases are almost worthless. This is pretty nice. Let's check out the back side. All right, let's open her up. Let's see how stuff is packed in here. So we can see these rods laying on top. If I had to guess, these probably are supposed to go up here somewhere, and they probably have come loose during shipping. All right, so let's kind of get into this. It looks like we do have a parts diagram or component list here. Kind of show you everything that's included, which is quite a bit of stuff. All right, so up on top here, we have a wire cable. I believe it's made out of brass, and it is 33 inches in length. And this handle down here can attach to it. You don't necessarily have to use it. Get that locked on there. And the other end is where our jags or brushes or slotted tips are going to go. All right. We also have a chamber flag indicator so that, if you're working on something, you can know that it's unloaded. Over here we have a squeeze bottle. You can put solvent, oil, whatever you want in here. Let's check this out. It does have a fine tip on it. So over here we have 18 different brushes. I'm gonna pull this up so hopefully you guys can see this, that are all marked there. So you got 12 gauge and 20 gauge. You got 17s and 22s, 45s. I believe that like the core of these is made out of aluminum, and then obviously the brush is brass, and then the tips here I think are brass. The camera's probably going to have a really hard time seeing it, but all of these are marked. So this is a 9mm right here, and this is a 12 gauge. Maybe that's a little easier to see. There are 9 mops total. Again, everything from 17 HMR up to a 12 gauge. Let's just pick a 410 and see if it's marked here. Again, it's probably hard to see, but yes, it is marked. And these are made kind of with the same core as what the brushes were. It's kind of aluminum through here, very sturdy, very stiff. We have 4 slotted tips and then 2 adapters. These are also brass, solid brass. There's actually some heft to these. Have 50 3-inch 100% cotton round patches. There are 13 different brass jags up there, again ranging from 17 all the way up to 50 cal. Have 3 muzzle guards. These are for certain rifles. You have to just basically clean them the opposite way, so you have to run your stuff through the end of your barrel, and these protect the muzzle from getting hit by like the handle of your cleaning rods or whatever. All right, we have 3 different double-ended brushes. This one here is a nylon one. We also have a brass and then a steel. You can see it's obviously kind of thinner for maybe even like doing rails on your slide. Get that one in there for that, and then bigger ones on this end. All right, and then finally up here we have the 2 different rods. I believe that they are 5mm and 6mm, and then each one of these has multiple pieces. I think you can go from 9 inches at the shortest up to 36 inches. And the camera may not pick this up real well, but again, there's a definite size difference between the 2 here. And so it's 5mm on the right, 6 on the left. And you clearly just thread one of the rods into the handle part to make it longer, and you can do as many as you need there. So apparently GloryFire spent more than a year kind of designing and developing these rods. I think they are made out of brass, but they are supposed to be much stronger than your typical rods, and they won't bend nearly as easily. You know, if a rod gets bent, it's pretty much worthless to you. So depending on what gun you have, you may have to use a cable or something similar to this, a bore snake, something like that, to try to clean out your barrel. Whereas other guns, you can get away with just a rod and a brush. So if I'm able to remove my barrel, you know, I can easily take a brush and just run this through a few times, you know, pulling it in and out. And I could also use the cable for this, but it's kind of a lot more tedious. You actually have to go through like the opposite way, and then you could put your handle on here, and then you have to pull this through this way. But if you had a revolver like this, in theory, you could go this way to clean it. It's not the right way to do it. So instead, you'd want to take your cable, and you have to feed the one end through first without the handle. And then once it's through, you would screw your handle onto there and basically just pull this all the way through until your brush gets there, and then pull it through. or consider a rifle like this. Again, you can't really get a rod and brush to go through here the right way. So something like this would be definitely better to feed your cable through, let it come out the other end, and then once it's out, like I'm out down here now, attach that handle and then pull it the rest of the way through. The slotted tips you can attach to the cable or to the rod. Let's say I want to use this one here. Well, that doesn't fit, and that's what these adapters are for. So you could put this on here, and then this would fit on this. So now you have it set up like that. So with these slotted tips, again, you can use the rod or you can use the cable. I'll show you a couple different things here. Most guys will just feed the patch just right through that eye there and just leave it like that. And then you could do some dry passes if you want. You can put solvent or cleaner or whatever on there, and then most guys will pull this out between every one and run it through until it's completely clean. And if you wanted to use the cable with the slotted tip, basically same thing. You're just going to run it down through. If you need to put your handle on there, you can, and then you're just going to pull that through. Those jags, again, can be used for cleaning. This one I think is marked 357, which is also 9mm. So you can put your patch on there, and then again, just kind of run it through. So these brushes are good for cleaning the areas around like the feed ramp, the lugs of your barrel, up in here, anything along your slide, getting down in here, cleaning along the rails, any of the stuff back in here, try to get that cleaned up. Any of the areas that are hard to reach, getting down in here in the frame of the gun. And I personally use just old toothbrushes, so they're like nylon bristles or whatever. But if you have stuff that's really caked in there, you haven't cleaned your gun in a long time, 1,000 rounds or more through it, and all the carbon's built up, you might have to use brass or steel. The brass usually will not scratch anything, but the steel could. You can use these mops to clean out your barrel as well. You've run brushes through it, you've done jags through it, you've done your slotted tips, and this will just basically help anything else that might be in that barrel. Just kind of smooth everything out, and so you can get a really nice looking finish on that. So let's briefly talk about the pricing and kind of see if this is worth it. I've actually had this probably a month and a half to 2 months, and the price has been $70 on Amazon the whole time. There haven't been any coupons, so I'm going to say that $70 is the price. I honestly don't have hardly any use so far with any of the stuff, so I can't say what the longevity or durability of the items are going to be. But my initial thoughts is that everything does seem to be of pretty good quality. So for that $70, you get the 2 different rods with all of the extensions. I kind of price stuff out on Amazon and different websites and stuff, and most rods are somewhere in the $8 to $10 range, and you're getting 2 of them. So let's just say $15 to $20, somewhere like that. I tried finding like the double-ended brushes here, and for a 3-pack, I couldn't find any that were the steel, the nylon, and the brass. I could find like a 3-pack of all nylon, but either way, they were probably somewhere in the $7 to $10 range. All of these brass brushes here, there's 18 of them, and I have a bunch of these myself, individual ones, and these are around $3 or so per brush. There's 18, so whatever that is, $54 or whatever, but you can find sets. I found sets of like 13, sets of 15 for around $30 to $35. These mops or swabs down here, almost anywhere you look, they're going to be around $3 each. What do we have? 3, 6, 9 of those. So that's almost $30. Again, I'm sure you can find sets. So let's just say $20 or something like that. The jags up here, what were there? 13 of them? Yeah, the jags are around $3 no matter where you look for them. I found sets of them, but it was a 10-piece set, not a 13-piece set, for around $30. The slotted tips, same thing, about $3 each. And the sets that I found were around $12, so it's basically the same. The cable, they're around $10 for those. The plastic muzzle guards, they're around $2 each, so like $6 for that. A little bottle is around $2. And I figure about $1 for the patches since there's about 50 of them. So you total all that up, and it's about $140 worth of items here. So $70 is a very fair price. Plus you get a pretty decent quality case with it. And you obviously get the convenience of having just everything in one location for you. So even though it has all of these pieces, is there anything that I feel like it's missing? The first thing I'd say is maybe a set of picks. Now I know that they give you the brushes, but there are times that I like to take a pick and a patch and basically run this pick down in here so I can get right up into this rail, and you'll see all the gunk that's going to come out of there. And you can get a brush there, but it doesn't like pull it out nearly as well as something like this in here will. And so what I'll probably do is put a couple of these kind of in the spot like underneath these rod ends and leave it in here like that. The other thing I would kind of like to see is maybe some just cotton swabs. Again, I might put a few of these under here. These just have so many uses when you're cleaning a gun, from soaking them in solvent and getting into hard to reach places. And the last thing that I use quite a bit is a towel or a mat or something like that. And I'd almost like to see them figure out a way that they could include maybe a slightly smaller version than this to keep in here, so when you fold it, it's still in that case. But even without those 2 or 3 items, I think that this is a fantastic kit. And I will leave the Amazon link for this down in the video description if you guys want to find out more information or pick one up. But alright guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.